Friends, good afternoon and welcome back. As you are aware, President Bolsonaro of Brazil will be on a state visit to India from 24th till 27th January. He is going to be the chief guest for our Republic Day. To brief you on the visit, I have with me Secretary East, Srimati Vijay Thakur Singh, and also Joint Secretary LAC, Ms. Gloria Gangte. We will have the initial remarks by Secretary East and then we will open the floor to questions. Ma'am, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, and since this is the first time that we are meeting, a very happy new year to you. And since we are meeting just ahead of Republic Day, warm greetings on the occasion of Republic Day. The President of Brazil, His Excellency Jair Bolsonaro, will be on a state visit to India from 24 to 27 January, and he will be the chief guest at our Republic Day celebrations. This will be the first high-level visit of the year to India. President Bolsonaro will be accompanied by 8 ministers, 4 members of parliament, senior officials, and a very large business delegation. This is the third time that a Brazilian president will be our chief guest at the Republic Day. The last time that we had a chief guest, Brazilian president as a chief guest, was in 2004. And this is the first visit of President Bolsonaro to India after he assumed office on 1st of January 2019. But Prime Minister Modi and he have had an occasion to meet on 2 occasions, one on the sidelines of the G20 meeting at Osaka in June, and second at the BRICS summit in Brasilia in November 2019. Now, India and Brazil have very warm and friendly relations, and as 2 democracies, we have shared approaches, we have shared values. Our bilateral relations were elevated to a level of a strategic partnership in 2006, and as 2 developing countries, we have similar developmental and global aspirations. This has led to a convergence of mutual interest in many areas. The relations are strong not only at the bilateral level, but also at the plurilateral level. We are both members of BRICS, IBSA, and G20, and in the multilateral fora also we coordinate, particularly in the United Nations. Now, Brazil is a big country, the largest country in Latin America. It has a population 210 million with a US dollar 1.8 trillion economy, which again is the largest in Latin America. It is a country rich in natural resources, minerals, oil, and gas. It is also a leading producer of ethanol with a very strong track record in the technological field. Our bilateral engagements are multifaceted. They extend from political, economic, defense, security to cooperation in fields such as agriculture, space, health, and food processing. We have institutional mechanisms in place for dialogues to carry forward cooperation in the many fields. We have, for example, Foreign Office consultations, we have the trade monitoring mechanism, and we have joint working groups in many areas. Our economic engagement has been growing. The current trade levels are $8.2 billion US. India is exporting about $3.8 billion, which includes agrochemicals, synthetic yarns, auto parts, pharmaceutical, and some petroleum products. Brazil's exports to India are $4.4 billion, and these include crude oil, gold, vegetable oil, bulk minerals, and ores. The total investment in Brazil of Indian companies is about $6 billion. We had put out this information earlier in a press release as well, while the Brazilian investments in India are about $1 billion. But given the complementarities and the synergies that exist between our 2 economies, we believe that the potential is much more. There would be an interaction between the business delegation that is accompanying the president with their Indian counterparts at the India-Brazil Business Forum, which would be a platform where the businesses from the 2 sides can discuss and have a better understanding of the opportunities that exist and to work towards business partnerships. Coming to the energy sector, which is an area in which we have collaboration, both in the oil and gas as well as in the renewable energy side. We will be looking at biofuels also as working together in that area. If you look at it, we have a national biofuel policy, and Brazil also has its own Renovo bio program, and both of them have embedded in them the possibility of using ethanol blending with the gasoline. So here also we find that there would be areas of cooperation, and we could have exchange of knowledge as well as technology in this field. We have ongoing defense cooperation as well as space cooperation, as I mentioned earlier, and we would look at how to strengthen these, and also we would be looking at strengthening our cooperation that exists in science and technology, in innovations and startups. And even as I'm speaking, that I thought I would inform you that we do have a program which is currently underway. It is the first edition of METRI. Now, METRI is an Indo-Brazil Agritech cross-incubation program. In that, we have startups, 5 startups from Brazil, 5 startups from India, and they would be working together, visiting countries. They would come here, Indian scientists would go there to see how we can look at more innovative practices in agriculture. The other areas which will be the focus of discussion in our relationship, they have been and will continue to be, that's agriculture, food processing, and animal husbandry. We do have a joint working group on agriculture where we look at possible areas of cooperation. And even if you look at animal husbandry, we share the same genetic heritage. We have, Indian breeds like Gir and Kankrej, they were exported to Brazil many centuries ago. So even at the people-to-people level, there is broad appreciation of each other. Football, for example, the Brazilian football team is followed very closely by Indian football fans. And in Brazil, there is great interest in Indian culture, as well as in our yoga, Ayurveda. The third Ayurveda conference was held in Brazil, which had a participation of 4,000 participants were there. So just shows the growing interest there. We also have an Indian Cultural Center, which was established by ICCR in Sao Paulo in Brazil, and that was the first cultural center that was established in the Latin American region. Let me go through the program of President Bolsonaro. He will come here, or President will arrive on 24th of January. On 25th, he will be accorded a ceremonial welcome at Rashtrapati Bhavan. He would then visit Rajghat. This would be followed by official talks with Prime Minister Modi, and thereafter we will see an exchange of agreements as well as press statements by both the leaders. Prime Minister would be hosting a lunch for the visiting delegation. We would have also on 25th of January, External Affairs Minister as well as the Vice President would call on President Bolsonaro. And President Bolsonaro will have a meeting with Honorable President Ramnath Kovindji, who would be hosting a banquet at Rashtrapati Bhavan. So that is the day of engagement, 25th of January. On 26th, President Bolsonaro would be the chief guest at the Republic Day Parade, and he would, of course, be also attending the at-home hosted by Honorable President. The following day, 27th of January, will be the India-Brazil Business Forum. I mentioned that earlier. And President Bolsonaro will be the keynote speaker there. And that day itself, President would be leaving for Agra. And from there onwards, he would depart from India. So if you look at it, the visit of President Bolsonaro is extremely important visit. It will be an opportunity to re-energize our strategic partnership, take it forward in a very focused manner, and we have a very positive and a forward-looking agenda to build stronger ties with Brazil. I would end there and take questions.
Ma'am, thank you very much. I open the floor to questions. Huma?
Ma'am, how many MOUs are expected to be signed and which are the areas? And just one more question. There's a delegation, there's a section on defense cooperation which will take place on Monday during the business. Can you tell us something about
We'll take one more and then Parikshit.
Ma'am, there has also been an interest from the Brazilian side to expand the preferential trade agreement that India has with Latin American countries. Any word on that?
The first question relates to the agreements. As I said, we have a very ambitious agenda, and we are looking at a number of agreements in a number of areas, and we are close to, they are under discussion, and we are close to finalization, and after the discussion between the leaders, we would have the list that we can share with you. As far as defense is concerned, that's been an area in which there are possibilities of collaboration. We already have a joint defense committee under which we have had a number of rounds of discussions. At the last round of discussion, it was agreed to set up a joint working group on defense industrial production. So we will see how we can work together in that area. We are also expecting a Brazilian delegation to be participating in DEFEX, which is in February. And the last question, as the PTA. Yes, we do have a PTA with Mercosur, and we are looking at how to expand it. It is a matter under discussion, and we would be taking it up with the Brazilian side during the course of the discussions. But we are eager to expand the PTA with Mercosur.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, please.
Considering that the president is such a controversial figure, why did we invite him? I mean, I understand that we have very good relations with Brazil, but wasn't there anybody else to choose?
Thank you.
Any other country?
I'll take one more and then Akhilesh ji.
Ma'am, yesterday in the cabinet briefing, it was told that India and Brazil will sign 4 MOUs. So can you just elaborate what are the 4 MOUs? Are you signing more than that?
MOUs, Akhilesh ji, she has already replied. Okay. I think we will share the list at a later stage. Yeah, Parikshit.
Any possibility of an India-Brazil agreement on cooperation and facilitation of investments? I believe this is something that has also been discussed prior to this visit. Could we see a signing, a conclusion?
Yeah. Sridhar.
Ma'am, both countries are also claimants to the permanent seat in the UN Security Council. How important is that an issue that will come up for discussions? Can you tell us something about that, please?
Thank you.
Let me start with the first question. President Bolsonaro is an elected leader in a democratic country, which is an emerging power in the region. It is a country with whom we have very strong and substantive relations, many areas of convergence that we have between India and Brazil. We give great importance to engaging with Brazil and its leaders to take forward areas of convergence and to build our relationship. So we will be engaging with leaders to build this relationship forward. And as far as President Bolsonaro is concerned, he's committed to building this relationship. We will be warmly welcoming him as an honored guest to the Republic Day, and it is a sign of his commitment to building the relationship between the two countries. As far as the issue relating to agreements is concerned, there would be more agreements than 4. I can indicate that to you. There would be agreements including relating to how to promote investment. So that is also very much on the agenda, and we look forward to seeing how we can conclude those negotiations. So this is a positive agenda. You will see positive outcomes, but we would brief you after the discussions between the leaders are concluded. As far as G4 is concerned, entirely agree with you. India and Brazil are members of G4. We are working together to see how to move forward the agenda at the United Nations. We consult each other regularly on that, But in the meantime, I can tell you that Brazil is also supported our non-permanent candidature for non-permanent member of the Security Council for 21-22. So it is something we continue to engage, but it is an agenda we are working together at the United Nations.
Maybe last set of 3-4 questions. Yeah, Srinjoy. Srinjoy. Last row.
Ma'am, you spoke about football and the interest. Now, Pele is very unwell, and Zico has family problems. These are the two greatest Brazilian footballers. So neither could be even approached. But there was a possibility of approaching 2 other footballers. One of them was captain of a Brazilian winning team. So where does that stand? Are they coming with the president?
Thank you. Manas?
Ma'am, we are having a very good relationship with Brazil over the last few years, and both the large economies actually are hit by economic slowdown in the last 2 years. Both Brazil's economy is slowing down, India is also having the same issue. So what will be the focus of the visit of the Brazilian president? Is it going to be economic collaboration to boost economies of both the countries? So what will be the overarching focus of the Brazilian president's visit to India?
Thank you. Any other question on the visit? No.
Srinjoy, your question only shows and reaffirms what I said. There is great interest in India about the Brazilian football team. So much so, you know, the issues relating to the various members of the team. So I would take it as a reflection of the interest that India has in the Brazilian team. I am not quite sure who would be coming along with President from the Brazilian football team, but I'm sure that this topic will keep cropping up during the course of the visit. No, not to my knowledge, no. And as far as the second is concerned, which is regarding the broad framework, see, there is a global downturn. And in that context, there are countries which are looking at how to step up their engagement. As far as Brazil is concerned, I mentioned to you that its strengths are important in terms of, as we look at India, in terms of energy security, in terms of food security. So that would be an issue we would be looking forward to seeing how we can work with Brazil. And as far as Brazil is concerned, of course, it is a question you would even ask the Brazilian side, but I can assure you that they look at India as a strong partner and a partner with whom they want to engage, and they want to step up relations economically, politically, and as well as cooperation in as many fields as can be possible. So the broad framework is you have a strategic partnership, and how to make that strategic partnership more focused and to bring, as I said, reinvigorated between two countries which are very important within in the world and within their own regions.
Okay, yeah, of course. Sridhar and then Parul.
Ma'am, did you say that there would be some members of the soccer team accompanying the president? Did you say that?
I said there were members of parliament coming.
Parul.
You mentioned the area of energy. Can you please elaborate on what kind of energy cooperation are we looking at? Hydrocarbons, ethanol, etc. How are we looking at Brazil in terms of boosting our energy security?
See, and as far as Brazil is concerned, it has a lot of oil and gas. Our Indian companies are already present there. They have an investment close to $3.5 billion in the hydrocarbon sector. And we are looking at renewable energy in terms of working with them. Brazil has become a member of the International Solar Alliance, so we could look at how to look at that aspects. But we're looking at biofuels also. So that's an area, as I mentioned to you, that Brazil has been one country which has been at the forefront of ethanol production and using it for the transportation system. So you have and we are also looking at, as I mentioned to you at the National Biofuel Policy, how to use ethanol mixed with the gasoline. So that would be another area. And the third areas we are looking at is in minerals. So let us see what kind of an understanding we can work on that area as well.
Okay, Sridhar, the last one goes to you.
Ma'am, both countries are in very far removed regions. You have, would the issues in each other's continents be discussed? For instance, Venezuela, would that come up for discussion with the Brazilian president? And would we be discussing issues like terrorism and, which are of interest to us in this part of the world? Could you tell us something about that, please?
As far as terrorism is concerned, we would be discussing issues relating to terrorism, and it's very much on the agenda. We have been already discussing terrorism with them, including at the UN for the CCIT, so that will be on the agenda. As far as regional developments are concerned, there could be an exchange of view, but at this stage I cannot say exactly what the issues, regional issues but they are leaders, they will take up issues relating naturally to regional developments as well as to global developments.
This concludes the special briefing. Ma'am, Gloria, thank you, and thank you all for joining.
Thank you.